Welcome to Extraordinary. I'm your host, Ty Legend. Today on Extraordinary, have you ever felt so broken that even joy seems like a betrayal? Today, we uncover how Patch Adams stared into that abyss, transforming personal pain into a rebellious mission. But the shocking price of his revolution will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about happiness. You've been there, that moment when the world feels like a suffocating blanket, when hope seems more distant than the horizon. Imagine standing on a cliff's edge, wind whipping around you, contemplating whether the next breath is worth taking. This was Hunter Patch Adams in 1975. A red clown nose lay slightly askew on the rocky ground, a symbol of joy, now seeming as fragile and abandoned as his own spirit. But this isn't just a story about a doctor who wore a funny nose. This is a revolution disguised as a human being. Born during the chaos of World War II, Hunter Adams knew constraint before he knew freedom. Military bases were his childhood landscape, sterile, rigid environments that suffocated creativity like oxygen starving a flame. His father, a soldier whose soul seemed gradually stolen by war, died when Hunter was just 16, leaving behind a vacuum of loss and unspoken pain. Bullying became Hunter's constant companion. Racism and loneliness carved deep wounds into his teenage psyche. By 18, he had attempted suicide 3 times. During his 3rd psychiatric hospitalization, something extraordinary happened. Instead of surrendering to darkness, Hunter made a revolutionary decision. His weapon, happiness; his battlefield, human connection. He began practicing joy like others might practice a musical instrument. 2 hours daily calling random phone numbers just to talk, riding elevators to practice conversations with strangers. Each interaction was an experiment in human vulnerability, in breaking through the walls society builds. People called him weird. He took it as a compliment. Patch, as he would soon be known, developed 6 core qualities that would become his life's manifesto: be happy, funny, loving, cooperative, creative, and thoughtful. These weren't just words, they were a deliberate strategy of transformation. When most would have been crushed by repeated rejection, he saw opportunity. When others saw limitations, he saw possibilities. His unconventional approach wasn't about being different, it was about being fully, radically human. One day, in a sterile nursing home, everything crystallized. An elderly woman sat completely ignored, her humanity reduced to a body taking up space. In that moment, Hunter understood his calling. Healthcare wasn't just about treating diseases, it was about seeing people, truly seeing them. Virginia Commonwealth University Medical School became his first major battleground. Imagine the scene: hushed corridors filled with traditional medical students, and then Patch, colorful clothes, a red clown nose, infectious laughter that seemed to violate every unspoken rule. Dean Walcott represented the old guard, traditional, rigid. He saw Patch as a threat, warning him he would fail, be kicked out. The stakes were clear, his entire future hung in the balance. But Patch saw patients as whole human beings, not just collections of symptoms. Where others saw a clinical interaction, he saw an opportunity for connection, for healing that transcended physical treatment. His methods were radical. He would wear a clown nose during patient visits. He'd spend hours, not minutes, with patients, understanding their lives, their fears, their hopes. Traditional medical education said this was inefficient. Patch knew it was essential. Slowly, something remarkable happened. Patients began to respond. They weren't just being treated, they were being seen, heard, understood. A small group of students began to follow his approach. What had started as an individual rebellion was becoming a movement. If you're enjoying Extraordinary, please like, subscribe, and scan the QR code for our free 7-day email course, The Breakthrough Blueprint. Turn setbacks into comebacks using tactics of great underdogs like Stephen Hawking and Lincoln. Now, back to the episode. Then Karen arrived. More than a girlfriend, she was a co-conspirator in his revolution of compassion. She saw beyond the clown nose, recognizing the profound humanity driving Patch's mission. Together, they dreamed of a healthcare system built on genuine human connection. But revolutions are never smooth. The medical establishment pushed back harder. Heated discussions erupted in faculty meetings. Dean Walcott saw Patch not just as a nuisance, but as a direct threat to medical orthodoxy. Tragedy struck without warning. A patient murdered Karen, the woman who had become Patch's partner in healing, his beacon of hope. The world went silent, the red nose fell. Standing on that same cliff where we began, Patch contemplated giving up. All his work, all his dreams, seemed to dissolve in an instant of senseless violence. The abyss beckoned, promising an end to pain. But then, a butterfly. Small, delicate, transformative. It landed near him, a living metaphor of resilience. In that moment, Patch understood that vulnerability wasn't weakness, it was the most radical form of strength. Instead of retreating, Patch expanded his mission. He began leading clowning missions in war zones and refugee camps. Where others saw hopelessness, he brought joy. Where trauma lived, he introduced laughter. The Gesundheit Institute became more than a medical experiment. It was a living philosophy, healthcare as an act of love, not just treatment. He lectured in over 70 countries, trained thousands in therapeutic clowning, challenged entire medical education systems to see patients as whole human beings. This wasn't just a clever quote, it was a manifesto. Now look at your own life. Where have you been told to conform? Where have societal expectations tried to dim your unique light? Patch Adams showed that your oddness is your greatest gift. Your pain can be transformed into a mission. Your vulnerability can become your most powerful weapon. The most radical act you can commit is to choose joy not as a passive state, but as an active rebellion against indifference. To see the humanity in others when the world tells you to look away. To transform your personal struggles into a force of healing. Will you stand at your own cliff's edge and choose revolution? Will you dare to wear your own metaphorical red nose? The butterfly is waiting. On the next episode of Extraordinary. Imagine a world where one man's unwavering dedication turns back the tide of famine, much like Patch Adams transformed lives with love and laughter. In our current story, we've witnessed how one individual can challenge systems and change lives through passion and unconventional methods. But what if that person didn't just heal souls, but fed millions? What if their fight wasn't against a stern establishment, but the silent killer of hunger itself? Join us next as we journey into the life of another humanitarian hero who left an indelible mark on humanity without ever wearing a red nose. Please like, subscribe, and scan the QR code or follow the pinned link to get our free 7-day email course, The Breakthrough Blueprint. 7 days, 7 ordinary to extraordinary transformations. Rewrite your story using the exact frameworks that built empires from nothing. Click the video that just popped up to watch the next one in this series. Or for episode summaries, behind-the-scenes info, and more, go to daily 8.com/EO. Thanks for watching.